Being a writer is great because you can get messages from readers like, "I am coming for your kneecaps," and be extremely flattered. Sometimes an OC springs into your mind fully formed, but sometimes creating an OC is more like focus grouping a character for a market demographic consisting entirely of yourself. Like submitting consumer surveys to get your own subconscious and doing statistical regressions on what comes back. Like, okay, now let's shift her fashion sense 3 degrees 90s word and gremlinize her by 35%. Haha, bro, you fell for my epic prank, where I used my body to shield you from a fatal injury, so that I could collapse into your arms and be held by you as you push my hair out of my eyes and tell me I'm going to be okay, and to just hold on in a panicked voice while I laugh because I'm delirious from blood loss and tell you not to cry, even though we are both very much crying. You got totally tricked, dude. Come back, I have to tell you the plot of a fic I'll never write and get you excited about it so we can all be disappointed with me later. That moment, hopefully more than one, but especially the first one, when you're reading a fanfic and a character says something they never ever said in canon, but you hear it crystal clear in their voice in your head, when it hits so spot on in word use and syntax and characterization that you feel like you heard them say it, like it could have come straight from their mouth in canon even though it didn't, and you know, this one's gonna be good. Why be canon compliant when you can be canon defiant? Must a character have some dark and traumatic backstory to explain their villainy? Is it not enough to do it for shits and giggles and the aesthetic? Wow, this fic was amazing. I will leave a well-written comment to express my appreciation and to detail all the ways I enjoyed and engaged with this incredibly nuanced and well-written text. Hurty feelings, but good. Lol, grumpy man funny. Yas. No writer has all three: a good relationship with reality, a socially acceptable search history, actual motivation. On all levels except physical, I am writing. I love my characters so much, they're my babies, and I would do anything for them. Absolute sweethearts. That one dies, and that one goes through fire and brimstone, and that one gets abandoned and lives through his worst nightmares, and that one loses everything he's ever loved, and normalize having no reasoning behind your writing decisions. Normalize using excessive em dashes. Normalize starting every sentence with the same phrase to make what you're saying sound profound, even though it's not. When you feel bad for your original characters, but you're literally the one causing all the problems they go through. Things I love about writing. Coming up with new worlds, building government systems, designing outfits, making my little dollies lie to and kill each other, researching ways to kill a person. Things I hate about writing. Writing. My search history ranges from how much did a mango cost in Mumbai in 1919 to which damaged artery can threaten life. And honestly, I feel bad for whichever FBI agent is spying on me. Must a story be about something? Are pure vibes not enough? Past lives / reincarnation trope makes me f***ing insane. What if our love defied literal space-time? We've waited for so long. I love you. Screw a breakup. Have you ever had to delete your favorite scene because it doesn't fit with the plot? One day I'm going to have to confront the reason my favorite trope is found families, but I don't have the time to open that can of worms, so I will simply vibe. A moment of silence for all the fics I started, then forgot about, and never finished. I meant to write some fluff, and now everyone's dead. What happened? You've heard of the awkward first date trope? Well, get ready for one of the involved people doesn't realize it's a date trope. I write for the dialogue. The plot is just filler. Cannot believe that if I want this fic to exist, I have to write it myself. How barbaric. How insulting. Excuse me while I take my life in my hands and write fanfic in a public place. Man, I love writing. Sometimes, writing is an intellectual process. But sometimes it's Googling synonyms for green at 3 a.m. and crying. Idea. Writing live stream, but it's just 2 hours of me drinking tea and reading increasingly unrelated Wikipedia articles. Not a single word is written. Yeah, I like to write. W. Open document. R. Stare at it for a little bit. I. Write something that barely resembles proper English. T. Have an existential crisis over whether you are actually a good writer or not. E. Close document and daydream about the idea you wanted to write. A lot of people write red like a tomato, but today I wrote red like a baboon's bottom, and it was incredibly satisfying. What can I do? I can craft entire conversations in my head that turn into stories. What can't I do? Have an actual conversation with living, breathing humans. At this point, somebody could literally just comment, "cool," on something I wrote, and I would break down sobbing and vow to lay down my life for that person without hesitation. Literally, just like that. Broke. Mutual pining. Woke. Seesawing, asymmetrical pining, with two people who have each loved each other deeply, but never at the same time, and have instead spent years in each other's lives having fraught interactions, both of them haunted by the mythical relationship that could have existed if they had ever actually managed to make it work for more than 2 weeks at a time. Do you ever get emotional reading your own draft/scene ideas, or are you normal? The fact that I'm making a meme about a chapter of my book instead of writing said chapter says a lot about me. So, tell me about your story. I'm the kind of writer that hardly ever writes, but can tell you in a second what fruit their characters would be. Another fic, another exploration of what's wrong with these characters that's also wrong with me. Celebrate being a writer. Celebrate your stories, your characters, and the wildest concepts of your imagination. We spend too much time beating ourselves up, criticizing our writing, pointing out mistakes and weaknesses. It's time to become proud of your writing. Even if you think it sucks, I promise, it's good enough, it's beautiful. You can always become a better writer, but you don't do this by bringing yourself down. To any fic writers who worry they are wasting their time, I read a fic for a relatively small and inactive fandom about 3 years ago. And there was one specific scene where a character watched another dancing like an idiot to a Beyoncé song, and it was so sweet and loving that even now, years later, I have that song on one of my Spotify playlists. So every once in a while it will play and remind me of that fic, and every time it does, I smile and feel a little happier. The stats on a fic will never really tell you if your writing touched someone. There's no numerical way to show you what impact you made. Maybe you are wasting time, or maybe you're writing something that someone will remember for a long time. Something that will never fail to make them smile.